Welcome. I'm Sarah Kilner, one of the assistant principals at Wodonga Middle Years College, and I'm in charge of managing the smooth transition for grade 6 students into year 7. And tonight we're here to welcome you to our iPad information evening. And straight up I'm going to hand over to Steve Foraker, who's our curriculum assistant principal, and he will take us through the information session this evening, and at the end I'll come back and talk to you about some specific key dates and key information for transition.
Thanks for the introduction, Sarah, and I'd also like to welcome all of our prospective Wodonga Middle Years College families to our iPad information evening. So the main reason that we're a one-to-one iPad school is because we're partnered with an LMS, which is the company's Desire to Learn, and they deliver a platform to us called Brightspace. Most of our students know this is D2L, which is our learning management system that houses all of our curriculum. So D2L operate under the motto of reaching every learner, and it closely aligns with our motto of every student, every opportunity, success for all. So we have opportunities now for our students to access curriculum before, during and after lessons. The iPad is one tool to support the learner in the classroom. It definitely doesn't replace the great work that our teachers do with our students in the classroom. So along with the student's binder, their pencil case, the iPad is just as important tool that they take with them to all of their sessions. Our course layouts within D2L are very similar, which is great for kids to learn how to navigate their way through Desire to Learn. The example that we have up there at the moment is a Year 7 English course, where you can see across the top the navigation bar, regardless of what course that the kids are in. They follow a very consistent program in terms of how they access their course content. We have a look at our course content there, staying in the Year 7 English page. Our modules, our units of work are all set out down the left-hand side of the column, and our students can work through that at a really individualised pace. I have a look at our lesson structure within our Year 7 Science course. It's very consistent in terms of our ability to follow an essential question, a learning intention and success criteria, and then the content is all filtered and sits within that. We have discussion spaces for reflection and collaboration for students, and it's just one way that we can connect with our kids and have our students reflect on their work. So an example here is one taken from our English course, and looking at some persuasive writing techniques, but kids have the ability to connect online with each other, respond and create posts of their own. So it's just one form of communication and a tool that sits within D2L. A very common tool that we use to support our feedback model at Wodonga Middle Years College is our Dropbox. So we use this for assessments and feedback, and it's been very prevalent this year during our period of remote learning, and something that we continue to use for our formative and summative assessments throughout the year, regardless if we're face-to-face or we've got our kids working remotely. So an example there is a student would submit their work into a Dropbox. The teacher then grades a rubric and provides them with feedback on their task. Quizzes tools is another tool that we use within D2L. Our student learning data is something that we really pride ourselves on, and knowing our learners and where they're at, so we can provide that intervention and that support for our students to ensure they attain the right learning growth. Our quizzes tool is something that our students will either use as a diagnostic form of assessment, something we use during our units of work, or at the end as a summative assessment, and gives us a really good gauge on how our students are progressing in the classroom. The example that we've got here is a student that's taken a photo of their work in a foods class, and it's one of the reasons that we are a one-to-one iPad school. It gives our students a great access and accessibility to a range of assessment tasks, so it can support their technology skills with their literacy, their reading and writing. They have the ability to take photographs. It's a mobile device that we can use in a range of different settings for students to capture their learning, submit it to their teachers, and then get that appropriate feedback. Every student who commences at Wodonga Middle Years College with an iPad or a device signs an acceptable use agreement. We are an eSmart school that aligns with our values, and we ensure that our students are following their acceptable use agreement policy. If students do breach that, there are management steps in place where we need to make sure we're following through and we're communicating that with our families. But one piece of advice that we do like to provide our families is that it's really important that you're monitoring your students' access at home. We have systems in place, we have network security in place for kids to make sure that they're doing the right thing at school, but we really rely on the importance of our students doing the right thing while they're at home and they're at school. The new iPad that we have a partnership with JB Hi-Fi Education, that I'll talk about that in a minute, is the iPad 8th generation. Our JB Hi-Fi Education portal is where we recommend our families to go to purchase the iPad. We have there's no benefit for us in terms of the agreement that we have with JB Hi-Fi Education. You can source your iPad from somewhere else if you prefer to do that, but we recommend that you use JB Hi-Fi Education purely because they have a great warranty system in place. It's quite an easy process to jump online, select the iPad that you want, and either pick it up in store or have it delivered to you. So the two options that we do have are the 32 gigabyte and the 128 gigabyte. They're both identical in terms of their size and functionality. It's just the space on them. I would recommend that if your your child is only using the iPad for learning only, then the 32 gigabyte device is fine. If you want that device to be their everything, where they access certain games or social media, take lots of photos and videos socially outside of school, then you might want to look at the device that has the biggest storage space. But genuinely we find that for students that are using their iPad for school purposes only, that the 32 gigabyte device will be fine. Insurance options. Apple Care for iPad is something that we definitely recommend and is an option you should select when you're in the JB Hi-Fi Education portal. There's a number of details within that, but it's really important that your kids, accidents do happen. You must select the right cover in there. We want to really encourage kids to have the keyboard cover so they're getting that typing skill and they're carrying those skills through with them. But accidents can happen, whether it's dropping the bag heavily, it's knocked off a table accidentally. So taking that Apple Care out is a really important investment, and you can go through the specifics in terms of what that insurance policy looks like on the JB Hi-Fi portal. Very simple. This documentation will be up on our school website, but you search JB Hi-Fi Education to access your iPad and to submit your order. And as you go through that, you just click and collect the options that you want, and the iPad JB Hi-Fi will notify you when you need to come and collect that from in-store.
Now, I just need to speak to you generally about some things that will happen in transition at the end of this year that are really important. I will draw your attention to our website, and we'll put up the link here where all the key dates and information can be found for the transition information that will happen in Term 4. The biggest one to start with is Head Start. Head Start happens at the end of Term 4 every year for our students and is a great week. It's a whole week where the kids come up and live a life in the week of a Year 7 student. So your primary school and the middle years will email out information specific to our Head Start week later in the year, but you can also find some information on our website now about our Head Start week. Then the second thing is our amazing Koori transition program, and the Kesos at both the primary school and Wodonga middle years will work closely to ensure all our Koori community are aware of that information. That will be a whole day event that happens in the middle of Term 4, where the students will come up and have a cultural experience and get to know staff at the middle years. Another thing at this time of year that's great to inform families of for saving purpose is in our Term 1 next year. So when your child is a Year 7 in Wodonga Middle Years College, they will participate in a camp and activities week. So that happens usually in the week of the long weekend. So it's a 4-day program in term 1, and there's a huge variety of programs and camps that the students can participate in, either day activities or week-long camps. I really encourage families to have a look at our website, and we'll put the link up here for you to use. And there's some information about past camps that have happened that your kids can have a look at and see what they're excited about. And there's also some information around costs and things, and it's just a great thing for families to be aware of, because during this year at some point there will be information put out to the primary schools for grade 6 students this year to register some interest and start looking at what activity and camp they might like to do next year. It's a great opportunity for our kids to work together cross year levels, cross campus, and build strong relationships with new peer groups in their year 7 year, and build some really strong connections with our teaching staff that will put them in good stead for their 3 years at Middle Years College. Wodonga Middle Years College will start communicating directly with families from the middle of term 3. There is a key date where we're not allowed to contact families directly, and once that date occurs, we'll work really closely with families directly via your email address. So the email address that you put on your year 7 application for enrolment, that's really important that that's correct, and if it changes, you need to let Middle Years College know. There will be a letter coming out via your primary school during term 3 that's called a confirmation of campus letter. Your primary school grade 6 teacher will provide your student with that, and that will confirm which campus, and it will confirm their enrolment at Wodonga Middle Years College. Then later on in term 3, you will receive a handout, a little package with all the enrolment forms and enrolment information from Wodonga Middle Years College. If your child attends a federation school, that will come directly from your child via their primary school. And if you're enrolling from another school, that will come via the post. So you need to make sure that your mailing address is current and up to date with the Middle Years College that you entered earlier this year. If you're not sure about that, feel free to contact me to get that confirmation. And it's this time of the year that I really stress with families to make sure that you are up to date with our Facebook page and our website, and that email address is correct, because they're the platforms that we will communicate with families. Our primary schools are really good at sharing that information as well, but now's a great time to like our Facebook page, have a look at our website platform so you're up to date and know where that information will be distributed. And if you don't receive an email from us by the middle of term 3, get in contact with me and we'll make sure that that's all up to date. Thank you very much.
The process of pre-ordering your iPad is simple. Visit the JB Hi-Fi Education portal, enter the school code WMYC 2022, select which iPad you wish to purchase, whether it be the 32GB or the 128GB, and any accessories you wish to get. We strongly recommend you get at least a cover for the iPad. Deliveries and collections for the iPads will start from the 15th of November. This is so the Apple Care insurance starts from that date and not earlier, to ensure your child gets the most out of their Apple Care insurance while they attend Wodonga Middle Years College. No, you definitely don't have to buy a new iPad. If someone in your family has an existing one, we definitely do encourage you to make sure that it is the most current iPad, hopefully. Anything sort of from an iPad 6th generation, 7th generation, and we encourage our kids to have especially our incoming year 7s, to have the newest one, because our LMS continues to update its software, so it's important that we have the device that can handle that. So there's nothing wrong if you've already got an iPad, you don't need to purchase one, but yeah, please make sure that it's relatively new.
So what we would say to all our families is that Middle Years pride ourselves on ensuring that each and every kid has the same access to any learning equipment or learning opportunities. So I would ask families to come and speak to us directly, but there are options to loan or rent iPads through our library. And there's also some other financial support options that we can talk to families about, but I'd encourage families to contact myself directly at Fell Timber, and we'll put you in touch with the right people to get you sorted.
So a lot of the work that we do on iPads is based on our learning management system, which is D2L. So a lot of that's web-based, so nothing needs to be loaded on. There are some specific apps that we will use in programs, but generally in saying that, nothing needs to be preloaded. A lot of the work, and every student at middle years gets access to an Office 365 account. So all Office programs are free. So yeah, that comes from PowerPoint, Word, Excel. Their OneDrive account, everything will be set up online, and most of their work sits up on the cloud, and every kid will be given their own login where they can access Office 365. That comes free with being a student in Victoria, so we step kids through how to log in, how to access their emails, set up a calendar, so there's no need for any apps to go on before the start of next year. With the accessories that are available through the portal, we strongly encourage families to go with the cover that includes the keyboard. We think that typing is an important skill, that we want our kids that have been working on computers or devices in primary school that have they've developed some typing skills. We definitely encourage you to select that keyboard cover. Yes, it's a bit dearer than the keyboard the cover without the keyboard, but we strongly encourage our Year 7s to purchase the cover with the keyboard. The pencil is just there as an optional accessory, but the majority of our students get by fine without the pencil, so there's no need to purchase that. It's just an additional preference. We are a BYOD school, so if you have an existing device in your home that can, all of our programs are generally web-based. As I said, there are some specific apps. We'd probably just have to make sure that the device and the Google Play can support the same apps that we're using with the iPads. So I would say please bring it into the school or make a time to meet with either myself, Sarah, or we can arrange a meeting with our IT department just to make sure it is compatible. So I don't want to say no to that question yet, but we would like to maybe have a look at the device just to make sure that the student can hit the ground running day one next year. So no, we don't have any textbooks at the school. When we move to an LMS, all of our content's stored online. A lot of the teachers develop our curriculum in line with the Victorian curriculum. We offer a highly differentiated program, so there's no additional purchases for textbooks required.
We don't require our students to bring them to Head Start. The setup process for them logging in and getting on our system will occur with their care teacher at the start of next year. So during Head Start, they won't require their iPad at school for learning.
It depends. Some families have a family iCloud account, so they can make sure that anything that the student's trying to download or access needs to be approved by the parent. So there's not a specific school iCloud account, it's just a personal or family account depending on how you want to set it up within your family.
And thank you for watching, and thank you for taking the time. It's an important time for your child to transition from grade 6 to Year 7, and a lot of people, and it is a big transition, and sometimes students can feel a little bit anxious about that, but it's really important as a family that we talk about it positively and see it as a really big opportunity and an exciting opportunity, and that you trust us as a college that in Head Start and at the start of next year will ensure that your child transitions to Wodonga Middle Years College really smoothly and positively, and we will communicate with the families really closely to make sure that your child gets exactly what they need when they're at Wodonga Middle Years College.